All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're back from our 40-minute break, back with some more 5USC Major League action. Once again, in the lower bracket of the semifinals, it's going to be Kentucky versus Michigan. And once again, I am back with my fellow co-caster, Jameson. It's good to be back here. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's doing great. We both went and had lunch in the short intermission we had between the last match and this one. And we're in for a banger. Kentucky A, Michigan A. We were talking about this in the caster booth right before we went live. They've both made it the furthest they've ever been in 5USC so far. Kentucky and Michigan having a very good run at this, but one of them will have to get knocked out here in this losers bracket match.
Yeah, both of these teams, their first time making it to the top 12, and especially for Kentucky, a really big improvement over the previous years. You know, they've been on a downward trend ever since the start, and even going 0-2 last year, but now making a huge resurgence with the return of Sir Shylordy and the inclusions of Isaiah and a Brown. Meanwhile, Michigan only on the up and up. First time in the semifinals, they have the inclusions of Papa Flame and Atara in addition to the rest of their veteran roster. Of course, Atara being the young rising star 5WC B team player, and only adding even more oomph to their gimmick roster, as I do hear a little bit of a gimmick song playing. I don't think that one's picked, and yeah, it is not picked this round. That is the previous round's pool. We are going into the picks and bans already, and it looks like we are just taking a quick minute to get all the bands sorted out. It looks like Hard Rock 3, DT4, some of the gimmickier mechanics maps from Kentucky being banned out, and from Michigan, it's going to be the DT3 and Nomad 3. So, interesting set of bans from Michigan, I would say here. Kentucky's making a little bit more sense together. The Hard Rock 3 and DT4 both some of that high AR alt. Of course, the DT4 a little bit higher AR than the Hard Rock 3. But making a lot of sense banning out some of the more difficult, quote-unquote, gimmicky maps. And for Michigan, banning out the DT3 tapping speed. Yeah, this is pretty common from what we've seen from them so far. A double DT ban last week against Stateless in their first round of losers quarterfinals. Not exactly the happiest to play the high BPM tapping. And Nomad 3, a little bit more questionable. I wouldn't say questionable quite, but it's interesting. It is, yes, it is quite a difficult map, but I wouldn't necessarily say that the skill cap of these two teams are so far apart that would dictate so much of the ban strategy. So, especially after seeing the Hard Rock 3 ban first from Kentucky, indicating they might not be so comfortable on the alt maps. But yeah, we'll have to see how that skill set plays out, who is favored. But for now, it is the first pick of Michigan. It is NSMB Wii 1-1 theme. No, at 5, and excuse me, I think that's the Kentucky pick. It has just been... Oh no, it is Michigan, highlighting up blue. So interesting, enterprising decision to pick Hyper Precision first. Typically avoided as a first pick just due to those first map nerves. You know, you're shaking so much, and it's so easy to shake off these tiny circles. CS8 and Air 8.5.
I mean, Hyper Precision... I mean, unless you're like really good at hyper precision, or at least like so much better than your opponent at it, it's a very risky first pick. I know my own state, New York A, we picked hyper precision round of 32 first pick and lost that as our only match map lost in that round of 32 match. So even if you're confident on it, you can still low roll your way into a loss. So not very popular as a first pick.
Maybe if your name is Hexagon, but even Hexagon has some crazy shakes. Of course, USC player and hyper precision specialist. Not in this tournament. And actually, maybe if your name is Asphyxia, they are eliminated previously on, I think it was Connecticut B that they were playing for. And they do have lots of impressive hyper precision scores in solo play, but a little bit weaker in the tournaments. Of course, it's neither here nor there, as I'm struggling to come up with many hyper precision specialists per se. We are into the map. It's going to be Sir Shylordy, Isaiah, and a Brown, interestingly enough. Usually in for some of the Hard Rock stuff, but I guess he is comfortable enough on the low AR. It's easy enough for him to read, and of course going to be comfortable on lower CS as a Hard Rock player. On the side of Michigan, it's going to be Twisty Memesgoal and Papa Flame.
Yeah, I mean, important thing to note, even though this is AR 8.5, it's very not dead. CS8 makes it so so hard to see the approach circles. It doesn't feel like there's many on your screen at once, as the Sir Lordy finds the first break. Actually, Memesicle found a break earlier, and there goes Izuya as well.
Yeah, gonna want to keep some eyes on Brown, the precision player for Kentucky, or rather the Hard Rock player for Kentucky, and also gonna be pretty good on precision. On the other side, of course, keeping eyes on Papa Flame, their consistency player, who can also flex their Hard Rock, gonna be pretty good on the precision as well. But as I'm saying that, there goes a Brown, and there goes Izuya, and so I mean, it's gonna be straight out by Papa Flame, but now it's actually Twisty. And just as I call his name out, going to be dropping the combo, so not a lot happening in this map, and is very, and well, actually because not a lot is happening, this around 75k score lead for Michigan is going to be a lot bigger than it seems, as Memesicle also drops his combo. So now we have nothing over 200 at the moment, and these players are fighting for scraps here.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, there's a triple break for Kentucky. Nobody's able to find combo on this map at all, which, I mean, can you blame them? This map is hard, and CS8 is not easy to be consistent on.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a clear step up from some of the other precision consistency maps that we've had. I mean, granted, yes, Flex 1 last week was pretty difficult, as was the Hard Rock 2, so maybe not that much of a step up, but yeah, still quite difficult to score well on this map. And we see that with all the players struggling, finally some bigger combos coming up on the side of Michigan, and Kentucky continues to flounder. Of course, these combos won't last for long, and there go the last two of them as Twisty and Memesicle drop, but basically at the end of the map here, and that almost 200k score lead is going to be quite big when the team scores are 1.1 mil and not even a million.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is not even like Michigan A is like FCing or holding any crazy combos. It's just the general comfortability difference on the CS8 between Kentucky and Michigan. Neither team really had the crazy combos, but Michigan just more comfortable and had, you know, just slightly better on the CS8, as they will take their first win.
Yeah, just consolidating multiple micro combos across their team. Gonna be culminating in a couple 400Ks from Twisty and Papa Flame, and Memesicle also matching or outdoing the best score on Kentucky. So no crazy combos here, but just some really solid consistency as Michigan take their first pick. So taking a moment to talk about these teams, Michigan pretty solidly a gimmick team. You know, you're looking at their star players, Memesicle, Twisty, Atara. Yes, they are all fairly well-rounded, but definitely a bit of a tapping slant to their favored skill sets, especially, or definitely a bit of a hidden slant, excuse me, to their favorite skill sets, especially looking at Memesicle. Perhaps the most well-rounded player of their roster would be Silboy, but even after you're looking at Memesicle and Twisty, you still have Atara and Beef Wellington. Atara, a strong hidden player, and Beef Wellington, easy hidden flashlight leaderboard farmer. So lots and lots of gimmick firepower. They're a little bit weaker on the mechanics. Of course, they do still have Papa Flame and Silboy for that, as well as just any mechanics that Twisty and Memesicle might need to fill on. But as we are talking about that, Kentucky going to pick one of the most mechanically intensive maps in the pool, the Force Mod 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the classic matchup between a more gimmick-oriented team and a more mechanical-focused team. Kentucky have the leg up here on the mechanics, and they do that on the Force Mod 1 pick here. The 225 BPM stream stamina map.
Yeah, I will say, despite the sort of intimidating nature of the song and what you expect from the BPM and whatnot, I do think this is one of the easier maps in the pool.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
Yeah.
This is probably the easiest map in the pool. I mean, it depends on the type of player you are, of course, but generally speaking, this is the easiest map in the pool. Yeah,
The bursts mostly around 5 to 9 notes, with I don't even think there's that many 16 note bursts, and there's like there's like 3 25 note bursts, which only happen in the 2 key eyes, mind you. 3 to 4 of them throughout the entire map, which is not something you would expect from a 4-minute long metal map. Now, that being said, it is going to still be a little bit difficult to act with Hard Rock, especially on the longer streams. You still need to maintain 225 BPM. And of course, with Hard Rock, that is going to be OD 10. And also an increased circle size, so a little bit of spacing as well for the Hard Rock players. So yeah, it's not necessarily trivial. We are in the semifinals at this point. And of course, with a little bit of increased scaling compared to previous years, the pool is going to be quite difficult, but still on the easier side compared to the rest of the maps we have available to us this week.
Yeah, it'll be Aiziya and Hatsuratsu on the Hidden, and Yutsu on the Hard Rock for Kentucky. Twisty on the Hard Rock for Michigan, and Memesicle and Papa Flame on the Hiddens as we head into this Force Mod 1.
And I mean, this is basically what we're looking at for Michigan. Might be a little bit surprised to see Memesicle in on this one, but they do have the stamina for the mid BPMs. Of course, calling 225 might be as a mid BPM a couple years ago might be a bit of a strange statement, but these days with the development of rapid trigger technology and whatnot, definitely can call it that. Still refuses to admit they are a tapping player despite being able to play maps like this. Of course, gonna be want to keep an eye out on Twisty for this one, the Hard Rock. Likewise on Yutsu, on the Hard Rock for the other side. So far, we've only had a couple early misses from Hatsuratsu and Papa Flame. Both teams holding through the first early section. And there goes Twisty, actually a little bit of a, looked like a missed tap into a drop to slider head. Under tapping.
Yeah, that'll be the first significant drop of the match. Papa Flame and Hatsuratsu's drops will not matter too much. There's a lot of combo in this map, so just missing a couple of 100 or 2 will not matter too much, but Twisty missing nearly 600 will.
Yeah, that is for sure. Another difference to talk about at the moment is Papa Flame all the way down at 91 AC, and you look at the two hidden players on the side of Kentucky, 95 for Hatsuratsu, 98 for Aiziya. Papa Flame continuing to struggle on this BPM, but still holding the combo, and that is what matters, especially with Twisty having fallen earlier. He needs to keep holding on. There goes a chain miss from Aiziya and Yutsu, and that is their signal back into this map.
Yeah, it's Michigan's time to shine. Twisty with the recovery, and Memesicle still on the FC, going to bring that score lead over to them quite rapidly as we hit the halfway point of this Force Mod 1.
Yeah, and there it finally goes. 20k and climbing now in favor of Michigan as Hatsuratsu the Soul combo, actually not even an FC, just a reverse choke for Kentucky. The accuracy might come into play later on, but with how these combos are looking at the moment, Jameson, I think it might end up being a bit of a moot point as Memesicle and Papa Flame continue to hold towards and past the halfway point of the map. And speaking of the halfway point of the map, there's a little bit of free combo here to go as we head towards the second TI.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the downtime periods of the Sports Mod 1, and for Kentucky, that's not what you want to see. You need Michigan to start breaking to bring the score lead back over to you, but Papa Flame on the combo game, giving no chance right now to Kentucky as Hatsuratsu breaks on nothing!
Yeah, that might just be putting things to an early sleep as Papa Flame and Memesicle continue to hold their combos, even if they do break on that last 25 noter in the ending Ki. It will be long gone. By then, the train will have long departed the station. And I do think Michigan are just running away with this pick. 350k on a map this long is quite a significant margin, especially when the scores and combos are looking like this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just over. I don't think Aiziya and Yutsu, even if Michigan were to totally collapse here, I don't think they have the score to bring back nearly 400,000.
Yeah, I mean, the accuracies are impressive, but there's just not a lot of map left in this one. About 500 combo left, as we can tell. Now 400 from Memesicle's current FC. And we are rapidly approaching the end of things, as we're also rapidly approaching a break point for Michigan. Papa Flame will drop his combo at the end, but Memesicle holds through, and so does Twisty on recovery, larger than anything on the side of Kentucky. It's going to be Michigan walking away with quite an impressive first break point on stamina map of this pool.
Yeah, I have to think this is a low roll from Kentucky. These are not the scores I'd expect from this roster, as Michigan A going to come out with a very solid breakpoint here.
Yep, that's for sure. I do almost kind of question picking this first, given the sort of high, or rather low skill cap nature of this map. And when the teams are close, yes, it doesn't matter as much when there's a big difference in the team's skill cap. But if you are the favored team and you think you have a bit more skill cap on this particular skill set, picking one of the easier maps, probably just the easiest map in this skill set, is probably not the best way to start things off. You just make room for some nice combos and some unlucky breaks on a bit of an easier map to come through, and that's exactly what we saw happen just now.
Flex One picked from Michigan, but I'd like to just say I'm pretty sure they only picked Force 1 because DT3 is banned. DT3 not up, the other tapping map, or just raw tapping map in the pool, very high skill cap, but out of the pool. So Force Mod 1 kind of a forced pick for Kentucky there, and unfortunately they drop it. So that's both of the big tapping maps out already.
Yep, just looking at the flow control on the Nomad 2 and some finger control with some weirdly shaped bursts on the DT2 left in the pool. But yeah, that is all the actual strain out of the pool. And Kentucky already in an early deficit as things go to some Daramok. It's going to be CS5, Air 9, a little bit of reading, a little bit of finger control, trying to parse out the rhythms as this map likes to break a lot of rules about mapping and make them work. Of course, talking about that distance time equality.
Not to go off topic, but distance time equality doesn't matter in mapping anymore, unless you're talking about low diffs. But yeah, I mean this map breaks a lot of those rules. It's very hard to read. You wouldn't think so with the stats of AR9 CS5, but this is a hard reading map. Like honestly, reading the rhythms and what you have to hit, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the I guess adjacent to distance time equality, just the rules that are typically set regarding stacks as opposed to overlaps and how you break up the rhythm when the spacing between the notes doesn't change. We do have the rosters in the lobby. It's going to be Beef Wellington, Soulboy, and Atara. So interestingly enough, none of the 3 players from last map in for Michigan. I would think that Twisty is quite comfortable on this. Maybe some of the aim control patterns are a little bit difficult for him. It's going to be Surshai Lodi, Shepsu, and Izia in for Kentucky. Of course, many eyes going to be on Surshai Lodi and Shepsu as they look to perform on this gimmick. It's going to be Surshai Lodi the first to break, however.
Yeah,
a rough start for Kentucky.
This map is pretty brutal. It really doesn't let up. There's like 1 or 2 sections with some free combo. Coming up on one of them here. This is one of the relatively free sections of the map. But oh my god, as I say that, 3 breaks across the board. And it's only 1 combo surviving for Kentucky versus 2 for Michigan.
Yeah, and here come those double snaps, the double streams, everyone hitting them. Surprisingly, as I do think that is quite the choke point, but it's actually going to be Shepsu and Surshai both to break as the gimmick players on Kentucky struggle in this map while Atara and Beef Wellington hold the line, and it's already a 250,000 score lead. As I say that, Beef Wellington and Atara both going to be dropping their combos, but Soulboy is there right behind them to pick up the pieces, and this lead will continue to grow in the favor of Michigan, now crossing 300k.
Yeah, I mean, like we said on the Nomad 5, 300,000 score lead doesn't seem like a lot, but when the scores are this low, it is a lot of score to come back. And Kentucky A, they just can't find their footing in this Flex 1.
Yeah, 300k, gonna be about 50% of Kentucky's score at the moment. More than that, actually, as the score lead crosses to 400,000 and is only continuing to grow for Michigan. Soulboy holding on to this combo for quite a while now, 400 and climbing, and the back and forths right there are going to catch out basically everyone in the lobby except for him. Going into the ending of this map, can he close out with some very nice combo? The accuracy is also very good, 96 into the zigzags, finally going to drop, but has more than enough to put up a quite impressive score. 560k is his number, as the team score difference will finish up at almost 600,000 flat, actually. That's quite an aesthetic number.
Yeah, I mean, a good pick there for Michigan. A 600,000 gap on this map with those scores is very, very large.
Yeah, that is for sure. That is about 2 members of Kentucky's team. Yeah. Of course, can't ignore Atara's score there, 500k as well, with the 400 combo earlier on in the map at 97.5 accuracy. Some very impressive accuracy. I believe the highest in the lobby it was there. But pick does go back to Kentucky, and Michigan finding success on gimmicks and winning out on one of the easier tapping maps. Where do Kentucky go from here?
I mean, like I said, we're the 2 big tapping maps already out of the pool, and you lost one of them, so I mean, there's the DT1, which is just testing high BPM aim. There's DT2, but that's kind of control-based. And, oh my god, they go for Nomad 1.
That is a very interesting early pick, although there are some cases where your team is just so good at aim that you can just pick maps like Nomad 1 early on. And, well, I don't know if that's exactly the case for Kentucky, as they do have some quite decent mechanics players. You know, Yutsu, pretty good at aim. A Brown, pretty good at the hard rock mechanics. And I think Sir Shilody as well. Pretty good at the Nomad 1, some good scores back in RTT earlier this year. Izia, of course, also able to fill out the 3rd slot. But you look on the other side from Michigan, Twisty and Soulboy are who you're looking at, and of course Papa Flame as well for the Nomad consistency. And what is this map if not Nomad consistency? It's Ito Kanako's Uncontrollable. It's basically every other anime aim map that you've ever played in the history of OSU. Let's be real here.
I mean, interesting thing to point out here, Kentucky has not played a Nomad 1 so far in the bracket stage. They've only played the qualifiers Nomad 1.
Yeah, that is definitely very interesting. Especially considering how they went all the way to tiebreaker against Florida in the round of 16. There was a chance that it could have appeared there. And then getting swept 6-0 by SoCal, trying to fight on their own picks. Probably not going to make an appearance in that match. Looking at the other side of Michigan, however, they did play it against Stateless last round. In one of their picks. Don't have access, or I don't have the MP quite on hand, so I can't peep into their scores. But that map was incredibly difficult. Some are even saying more difficult than this week's Nomad 1. I believe it was you, actually.
And by some, it was me. And the entire state of New York, I think.
Yep. I mean, we do have the map underway. Of course, for Michigan, going to be keeping a close eye on Soulboy and Papa Flame, as it's actually memesical to round out the roster over Twisty. And for Kentucky, it's going to be Yutsu, Izia, and no Sir Shilordy, no Brown. It's going to be Shepsu instead. And
what did we just miss on?
I mean, first 200 combo of the map, you're hoping it doesn't play a big difference in a map that's 4 minutes long. Gonna be plenty more opportunities to miss later on, as well as the spacing will increase. Not quite to the levels of the Nomad 1 last week, but it will still increase. And I did hear from a birdie about Shepsu. He's basically like a little bit more well-rounded Sir Shilordy. Better on the other skill sets, and ever so slightly weaker on the gimmick, but still quite strong on the gimmick. So gonna be watching out for his ability to stay consistent and keep up with the 2 mechanics players right next to him. As there goes the first miss, quickly followed by Izia, and untraded by Michigan at the moment. Of course, they still have to make it through the end of this first Ki if they want to cash in on some more free combo. But they're looking quite comfortable at the moment as we do approach the end of this first Ki, with Papa Flame still holding on to an SS.
Musical drops, but I mean, we were talking about their Nomad 1 from last week quarterfinals. Their team score actually number 5 overall for that week. I mean, Nomad 1 was not the most popular pick, but it certainly wasn't underpicked. So Michigan, no slouches of the Nomad 1 as they're proving right here.
Yeah, Soulboy and Papa Flames holding on to their FCs through the first Ki, and especially on these types of anime J-Rock and Nomad 1s, you want to hold through the easy combo in the beginning, hold through the hard combo in the first Ki, the first chorus, and then your reward, of course, is a little bit more free combo in the second verse. Unfortunately, Soulboy could be dropping the ball.
And the
Yeah, going to be trade. Yeah, that was the last FC of Kentucky. Fortunately, it was traded out by Silboy, as he will drop the ball again at the start of the second KI, but Papa Flame still on the FC. This is what this man plays day in, day out, the no mod consistency. And he is showing the fruits of his labor right now. 800 combo and climbing as we head into the back half of this map.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky looking like another blunder pick here, as they really have no combos as we enter the last third. And the longer Papa Flame holds, the worse it gets for Kentucky.
Yeah, Memesgoal going to be dropping his recovery, so a little bit of silver lining as we head into the 1/3 section. But still waiting, and especially that's going to hurt. Shepsu dropping his 400 in this slower section, which has mostly proven to be free combo so far in every single match that this has been picked in. I don't think people have really missed on the 1/3. Now, fortunately for Kentucky, there goes Silboy as well, but still Papa Flame holding on. Big Papa, as that is 400,000 score in the favor of Michigan. He will finally drop at the end of the solo section, but that is surely more than enough work done. 700,000 individual score at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky doesn't have any combo to come back into this map with. Michigan going to take a second break pick in a row here early on into the match, and Kentucky, you've got to find a footing here eventually into the match, otherwise you're just going to get swept. As Michigan, you've got to think about what your next pick is now.
Yep, speaking of feet, trying to get their foot in the door, but getting it slammed shut. Shut in their faces. Fortunately, this is best of 13 starting from this round, so not as disastrous as previous rounds, but still not a good start, giving up 2 breakpoints early on that were both pre-consolidated by Michigan winning their own picks. So early 4-0 lead. And there's still plenty of gimmick maps left in this pool, I believe. There's the Force Mod 2 for 1. There's the Hidden 3. So already that's 2 picks for Michigan there that, assuming they do go Michigan's way, put them at match point.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan A, you're in a great position here. You've taken 2 breakpoints off of Kentucky, and it's both hard mechanic maps that you probably are favored to win on paper, and you've got a lot of stuff left up that probably feels very confident for you to pick.
Yeah, that's for sure. Taking a quick look at what we have left in the pool. The No Mod 3 gone, but I mean, yeah, the Hard Rock 3, DT4, 2 alt maps banned out, 3rd alt map banned out in the No Mod 3, but if you're looking at the control skill sets, there's still the No Mod 4 Halgo Slider Tech. Of course, not entirely made by Halgo. It was a little bit of a collab for the OSU Beat Mapping World Cup.
Championship.
Country teams in a
Wrong
mapping,
scene.
yeah, World Championship. Excuse me there. I should allow the mapper to talk about the mapping competition. But please go ahead.
Honestly, I've never participated in OBWC. USA is a stacked roster. I don't think I'm ever participating in OBWC. Yeah, that's really not happening within my lifetime. But
Fair enough.
Hidden 2 picked up from Michigan. Actually, I'm kind of surprised by this. Kentucky, we were talking about Michigan being the gimmick team, but Kentucky's very good at reading. They have a good, easy roster, and they're not slouches at Hidden 2 either, so kind of surprised to see this one be picked up by Michigan.
Yep, slipping through the bans, but I will say, I'm not entirely super confident on Kentucky's 3rd man. Yes, Sir Shai Lordy is incredibly good and can just have a pop-off in a late stage. And yes, Shepsu is incredibly good and will put up consistent good supporting scores for Sir Shai Lordy to do their thing. And then their 3rd is Izuya, who, yes, did fail gimmick in the big boy USC for Kentucky, but Kentucky's not that strong of a team up there, upstairs. And this is Michigan A. These players are really good at gimmick. You have already, just looking in your upper right-hand screen, Beef Wellington, must I say it again, easy hidden flashlight. So this hidden 2 should be some light work for him. Used to the AR4 hidden. He has double the AR, the AR 8 for this one, as of course it is just Atara, their 5WC B team hidden player to round out the roster. And I have to say, I do feel like that the Hard Rock 3 DT4 bans were just a bit of Kentucky. Just banning some of the harder alt maps that their mechanics fields didn't feel as comfortable on, and sort of thinking, oh, Michigan is probably just going to be better there. Yet I do feel like those are the kinds of maps that have a lot of leeway for some really close score differences, and maps being a lot closer than we initially thought. But thinking of close maps, we do have the rosters in the lobby of the map underway, and the rosters are just exactly what we predicted. So Shai, Lodi, Shepsu, and Izia for Kentucky, and the previously stated 3 from Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but again, I think Kentucky can play this quite well. So Shai Lordi, one of the better known gimmick players, I feel like, in the range. She's been around for a while as we enter the first Ki, and Beef Wellington actually being the first one dropped.
Fortunate drop for Michigan as we go into some of these back and forth snaps. It's 144 BPM, so still pretty normal BPM for the hidden twos, but some slip ups coming through. Will be traded out by Izia as Memesicle, Atara, and Surshai, well, not Atara, excuse me. Surshai, Lodi, Shepsu, and Memesicle are the 3 to hold. As Kentucky has a little bit of advantage at the moment, although Shepsu missing on those perfect stacks.
I think maybe an under tap there, not sure. That didn't really feel like he actually missed on anything.
Yeah, maybe if you check the key inputs later in the VOD, you can see if that was an under tap or double tap potentially. But now Memesicle and Surshai, yeah, and the entire advantage that Kentucky did have gone, as Beef Wellington and Atara are on a couple nicer recoveries, pulling the score lead up to almost 100,000 now, as there goes Izia as well. So Shai Lordi, however, still matching Memesicle, and these are the big combos that we need to watch out for. Either of these breaking can wildly swing the result of this match, despite the superior recoveries at the moment on the side of Michigan. It's going to be Izia and Atara trading out at the start of the second Ki, and there goes Beef Wellington also dropping his recovery. So advantage once in Michigan's favor, now ever so slightly back in the favor of Kentucky, but not for long, as there goes Surshai Lordi, and there goes Shepsu and Izia as well, following right behind their captain. And it's just Memesicle left over to take over this match. 200,000 is the gap as he will finally fall, but there is no combo left anywhere, and we're going into the back third already.
Yeah, I mean, I doubted the Michigan pick. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can call me a doubter all you want. I did not think that they would win this, but Memesicle pulled off the hero combo, and Michigan A, they're going to take a 5-0 lead here on the Hidden 2 against Kentucky.
Very, very strong start for Michigan, and this is more than just a strong start. We are getting into the middle stages of this match soon, and we might see this just end in the middle game. But yeah, the issue here for Kentucky, Michigan, they have 3 players who will at the very least be solid, and every single one of them can pop off on this map. And when you look at the side of Kentucky, you're really mostly looking at Surshai Lordi for a crazy pop-off, as for some reason we're getting the Nomad 5 applause.wav.
Wow, why did that happen? What? That's so strange. I've never had that happen before in my life. What?
Yeah, that was interesting Bancho moment. But yeah, when you just have that many more opportunities to pop off, I mean, we are working with quite small numbers here. Can't really call upon the law of large numbers, but just on average, you will find more pop-offs and larger pop-offs, and that's what happens here. Memesicle a little bit longer than Surshai Lordi, and Beef Wellington and Atara still being a little bit more stable than their counterparts.
I mean, Kentucky here, you've got to find your footing. You literally cannot lose this map, because if you do, you're down 6-0 and going into match point on Michigan's pick. So you've got to find something here. Yeah, and the easy pick, yeah, I guess it does feel like
easy still for Michigan, is what I want to say.
They are very good at easy. They did just lose Hidden 2, but they are a good easy team.
Yeah. And also notably, easy hidden players not necessarily super comfortable on just playing easy. Of course, easy hidden, very different, a lot less visually dense, but of course in turn you do have to remember where all the objects were on your screen. So they like to run away, like to disappear.
Wow, Hard Rock 2.
Houdiniac, and I have to say I'm not super surprised about this one. I do think this is, despite, yes, it is one of the easier maps in the pool in terms of mechanics. It's also CS 6.5. It's precision on AR10, which is quite a bit different from the precision that we saw earlier. Some of the gimmick players on Michigan going to be a little bit less comfortable on this high of an AR, and I know for a fact that Ataro will not be coming in on this one. So, looking at who can come on this one, I mean, Papa Flame should still be fine on this. Looking for Silboy and probably Twisty as their third. On their side for Kentucky, yes, Hatsuratsu, for sure. Probably Yutsu and maybe even a Brown will be coming in for this one. Haven't seen too much of him recently, even on some maps where you think they might be able to fill, but the other players are just a little bit more well-rounded and proficient, so really only coming in for some of his specialties every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, we did see a Brown earlier in this match for No Mod 5. They did put out a pretty decent score, obviously still lost it, but they proved they were not a slouch on the precision, and this is their specialty, the Hard Rock precision specifically, so we'll see how they do here on Kentucky's possibly last pick of the match, because if they lose this, it goes to the Michigan's pick.
Yeah, and Michigan has looked so strong on their own picks so far. Gonna be Izia to round out the third instead of Yutsu. And we're really hoping that the AR-10 added comfort is going to be the difference maker for a Brown. Is looking to the other side, it is just the predicted trio of Soboy, Papa Flame, and Twisty. 220 BPM, so a little bit higher BPM than most Hard Rock 2s you'll see. And what that does mean, you have some increased density and a little bit more reference points to figure out where to aim and make the aim a little bit more easy.
Yep, early accuracy lead for Kentucky. Maybe a sign of things to come, maybe not. We'll find out as we get further into this classic Hard Rock 2, banned forever by Lezja, as Hatsuratsu finds the first break.
Yeah, speaking of Lezja, very old. What, do you remember when they started mapping, when their map started coming out?
I think their earliest ranked 2010, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so definitely a classic mapper. I'm sure you have lots of history you could share to us about them being in the mapping community, but for now, more early misses coming out from Kentucky here. Izia, a little bit of an unhappy accident in this first TI. Of course, CS 6.5, quite difficult to be consistent on. We do have some trades going back and forth now. Izia continuing to struggle, but this time he is able to take down Papa Flame with him. Although, there go Hatsuratsu, and there goes a Brown as well. Right around a third of the way into the map as Twisty and Silboy continue to hold. So advantage Michigan, and that is a little over 100k at the moment as well. Taking a quick check-in on the accuracies. 98 for Silboy, 97, almost 98 for Twisty, and 98 for Hatsuratsu. 98 for Izia, but unfortunately that's not going to matter a lot when their combos are so low like this.
Yeah, I mean, for Kentucky, we're sounding the bells right now. The emergency alarm is being set off. Michigan A have one FC, and wait, Twisty broke. So it's only one FC, so not as bad as I thought. But oh my god, there goes Silboy.
Gonna be traded out by Izia, so one of the recoveries from Kentucky dropping, and there goes Hatsuratsu as well. So once again, just down to a Brown as his two supporting combos struggle around him, and there he goes, just barely misaiming, over-aiming the lone circle after the burst. And Papa Flame is there to hold for Michigan. As I say that, he will drop it at this point. We are just past the halfway point of the map. 200,000 score lead for Michigan, and not a lot of combo anywhere to do anything with.
I mean, Kentucky, they've got to pray that Michigan has a near complete collapse here at the end if they want any chance of coming back into this.
Yeah, and not only that, Hatsuratsu and Izia need to pick up the slack. They have been struggling this entire map. To be fair, Brown has been struggling a little bit as well, just a couple more longer combos, but still the max combos have been very low on all these players. So just a collapse from Michigan will not suffice. They need to put in their own legwork in order to stay in this match, lest things go to Michigan's pick on match point. have done a good job of building up some score, but that score lead has not budged. 180,000 is where it will sit, and even go further in the favor of Michigan as Isaiah finds another break near the ending. Trade out by Soulboy, but it matters not. The work has already been done. That is Michigan up 6-0, 3 break points in a row, and on the precipice of sweeping Kentucky A out of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that maybe some nerves coming into play for these low rolls for Kentucky when you're down so many points playing a precision map. You just kind of start missing on nothing because you're too nervous to aim properly or even tap properly.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can happen, but looking at this fourth pick from Michigan, hidden 3.
No, that was not a pick. Kentucky said it, and then Zilla picked it. It's Michigan's pick, so
please do not troll your refs, guys. Please do not troll your refs, guys. I remember there was a conversation about this literally last night. I forget who it was by. I think it was actually during the broadcast with Leah and Justin. Yeah, don't troll your refs. Don't act like you're picking when it's not your team's pick, please. But right, well, it will be a Force Mod 2 pick, as Twisty just now also saying that it was trying to get Beef into play some maps because he hasn't been able to play many so far this tournament. So likely to see that easy hidden coming out here from him.
Easy hidden might be easier than easy only on this map. I'm not gonna lie.
There's definitely a good argument, especially what I said, given what I said just earlier about the difference between easy and easy hidden. A little bit of differences in how you deal with the density, how you process it, and what your strengths are in reading in general. But accompanying him are going to be Soulboy and Twisty on some of the hard rocks, and we have seen quite a bit of hidden hard rock as well. Talked about this in the last match, but the hidden on the hard rock, even this map, even on AR10, it is still quite dense with some of the overlaps can be a little bit difficult to read, and so decreasing the density even further with the hidden going to be helping some players out. Of course, there is a player with a hidden hard rock preference in this lobby. Looking at YouTube, so looking for a pretty good performance from them as rounding out the Kentucky roster. Does look like Sir Shilodi and Shepsu on some sort of reading mod. For the other side is actually Twisty going to be swapping out for Atara here.
I wonder if Sir Shai has learned this on easy. I don't think so, but it'd be kind of fire if we saw it easy on both sides.
That would be very interesting, yeah. I mean, we have already seen an easy on this map once. Of course, Asa earlier in Nortel's loss to Virginia, putting up an FC for them. I believe it was. But we might just see something to top that, yeah. Beef Wellington, easy hidden. Looking to top the aura from Asa's earlier easy FC on this map. And looking pretty comfortable out of the gate so far. Of course, this is his bread and butter, what he plays all day, every day. So looking for a good performance from him. Got to keep your eyes on that bottom center right screen on your screen. Speaking of taking a moment to look at the other mods, it will be YouTube breaking just now on the hidden hard rock, and Soulboy on just the hard rock. No hidden hard rock preference for him on this one, and it's going to be Atara matching Shepsu and Sir Shilodi on the hiddens. Oh, Beef Wellington.
They found a break earlier, so that it's not too bad, but Michigan A still in the driver's seat here for this map.
Yeah, the hard rock players finding even more breaks one after another. And with Shepsu dropping there, it's just Sir Shilodi up against Atara in the 1v1 RKT player versus 5WC player, but we've seen the kind of incredible work that Sir Shylordy can put up. And he is holding on to quite a good combo. Unfortunately for them, it is Beef Wellington also holding on to the easy hidden once again, and that is, well, as I called them out, they will break, but that was around a 90,000 score lead for Michigan, and still going to stay somewhere in that ballpark for now.
I mean, it's not over by any means. It's all up to Sir Shylordy for Kentucky on the 1v1 versus Atara. Their tournament lives on the line.
Yeah, both of these teams making their first ever appearances in the semifinals of 5USC. And here they are trying to top that achievement, take it even further, just see how far they can go this year. Well, only one of these teams can walk away a winner today, and Michigan standing on
Atara breaks!
Atara breaking on the overlaps, and it's Sir Shylordy to stand strong into the ending as everybody else in the lobby falls around him. It is just Sir Shylordy to stand tall, and boy is he tall. Still holding on to, I believe, the reverse choke. 90,000, 100,000 will be the score in Kentucky's favor. And Kentucky, after 7 maps, finally managed to put their first point on the board.
Never say never. We have never seen a true reverse sweep in 5USC history, to my knowledge. But we could see one now. Kentucky finally their first map on the board. It's a break point, and going into their own pick, you never know. Momentum can swing just like that on its head. So we'll just have to wait and find out.
Yep. I mean, we are still 6-1 down here, Jameson. Michigan have 5 match points. And even then, there is still a tiebreaker to go. So Michigan, 2 more picks of their own, and Kentucky having to find 3 more successful picks. Maybe a little frustrated with their earlier choice to ban out the Hard Rock 3, as they might have enjoyed that enjoyed the ability to pick that, but actually Hard Rock 2 going in the favor of Michigan, so not really sure where Kentucky go from here. There's no more force mods. The Hidden 2 has been played, the Hard Rock 2 has been played, so you can't really garner any information off of the Force Mod 2, and I don't think you're picking any of the other gimmick maps into Michigan.
I think the hardest mechanics map left in the pool is Hard Rock 1?
Probably, yeah, that map is just really hard. Very high skill cap. Hard Rock aim.
Oh, Hidden 1! That's another aim map, not the one I expected though.
Definitely wasn't expecting this one, of any of the aim maps.
My pick order is all messed up, hold on.
Wonderful. You gotta fix everything in Tosu and make sure it's all configured perfectly, because why not? But yeah, this Hidden 1 finally getting some didn't cut it in the pool's Yakata Mawari 230 BPM awkward aim, although I will say it's not that awkward, as we have discussed this earlier today as well. Jameson and I. CS 4.3, Air 9.5, not too high, not too low for this BPM. Pretty standard as Hidden 1s come.
I said this last match, this is not a reading intensive map rather. This is just, can you aim the circles? And honestly, I flow aim most of this, so it's kind of just up to RNG sometimes.
Yes, having the flow aim, 230 awkward aim, that is... I mean, if you don't have the mechanics to snap aim this BPM, it can be kind of tricky. As you said, RNG on the flow aim. That being said, Kentucky are the favored mechanics team in theory. So we'll see how they do. Yutsu and Aizuya should be quite comfortable on this, and Sir Shylordy also pretty good mechanics when he has the hidden modification turned on. But on the other side, you're looking at Memesicle. Memesicle, such a strong performance earlier on. Oh, I'm blanking. Caster's having the memory of a goldfish, but yes, very strong performance earlier. And then Papa Flame as well on the No Mod 1. Incredible combo. Of course, a little bit different type of aim here, but still should be quite comfortable. And of course, rounding out, Atara, not exactly the biggest enjoyer of aim, especially aim consistency. This map being 4 minutes long, going to require some consistency in order to score well on it. But I will say, you're looking at these jumps right now. Yes, it looks like a lot of jumps consistently in a row. It might strain your aim a little bit, but I don't actually think this map is super strainful compared to some other hidden ones we have. Or some other hidden ones that exist.
This is pretty comfortable, relatively speaking, but I actually say that the carry of the last map, so Shy Lordy finds a drop here on the higher BPM in mechanics.
Yep. Well, we are approaching the first Ki, so this is where the battle will really begin. Izia and Yutsu holding onto the combos. It's gonna be Yutsu. It's gonna be Izia to trade with Memesicle. So Atara and Papa Flame, but there's a full wipe from Michigan, and now it's just Yutsu standing strong with Shy Lordy actually on a decent recovery here. And Kentucky do have a little bit of an advantage at this point in time. Of course, there's still the back half of this Ki to go, and there goes Yutsu on the wide angle aim. So Shy Lordy still holding, however, so finding a little bit of an early break, but able to hold the combo through this first Ki. Of course, a little bit of an outro here as we go in, as we bridge into the next verse section. But if he can hold through here, then there will be some free combo to harvest, and he does hold.
Yeah, so Shy Lordy, a little bit of an oopsie there at the beginning, but now making up for it as the only big combo left on the board over 400.
And now crossing 500. Looking at the other side, Michigan are putting together some nice recoveries. As there goes Shy Lordy in the slow section. Gonna trade out by Atara, but now it's just 2 recoveries to 2. Papa Flame and Memesicle versus Yutsu and Izia, and the score lead is still in the favor of Kentucky. So should be staying relatively close, under 100,000, and have to wait for the next misses to come through. And it's gonna be Papa Flame to find the first slider break.
I mean, Kentucky, they've got a chance here, but Izia trades out the break for Papa Flame, so it's just Memesicle versus Yutsu on the recoveries. Only 60,000 the score difference, and Yutsu drops.
And that might be catastrophic for Kentucky. Atara also on a recovery of about 300 combo to break up to back up Memesicle, and although Memesicle will drop, Atara still has the combo. Now, the silver lining for Kentucky is that the score has not yet gone in favor of Michigan. Atara still needs to hold through this solo section and then some to really bring things over, and even then, they will not have any cushion at all. The score still ever so slightly in the favor of Kentucky, finally about to touch the 10K mark. And there it will finally flip to Michigan. But the recoveries are coming in here now for Shy Lordy and Izia. Yutsu just a couple steps behind them. Likewise, Papa Flame a couple steps behind Atara, but this map is still balancing on a knife's edge.
Literally any break matters here. It doesn't matter who you are. If you break, that may cost it for your team. The score lead is under 20,000.
Here we go. We see the break. The players see what is going on. The ever so slightest of advantages for Michigan. But
nerves
the
have to be
slight
kicking
advantage
in.
Is what matters. 700 combo and climbing for Atara. 500 on Papa Flame. They need to hold for just a bit longer, especially with Memesicle breaking there. Kentucky holding on, but there goes Izia on a big chain miss. There goes and Shy Lordy and Yutsu now have a chance. There is an opening, only Papa Flame to hold the line, and the score lead is quickly dwindling for Michigan. Just about ready to flip back to Kentucky. There goes Papa Flame, and
Yutsu
then to go up with the score. Sir Shy Lordy! Sir Shy Lordy, the captain, the general! I don't know!
Check the MP! Check the MP!
It's 4K, it's 4K,
Kentucky
it's not even 5K.
It's 4.7K. Oh my god.
The tiniest of slivers on our screen, and only the meter at the very bottom, which shows red. And red will mean a Kentucky victory as they manage to get a second point on the board in the closest of margins.
Well, if there's any way to kick off a comeback, I think that's one of the ways to do it. As Michigan, they look to close out the match here with their next pick, but Kentucky, they've got some momentum going for them. We've got to see how they do on this next pick. As Michigan, there's a few ways you could go with this next pick. I think Hidden 3 feels like the obvious one still up on the board.
We have seen 2 Hiddens picked so far, the Hidden 2 going the way of Michigan, and Hidden 1 just now going in the favor of Kentucky, but it's going to be a No-Mod 2 pick. The first tapping map picked since Force Mod 1 all the way at the beginning of things, and this is a little bit more flow aim control than raw tapping, I would say.
Yeah, this map, I mean, I talked about it last match, this map is like, it's deceivingly difficult, it feels like. We've seen a lot of good players drop less than ideal scores on this No-Mod 2, and we'll see if anybody's able to pull out anything big on this, as Kentucky, you're hoping for that kind of carry performance to bring you to your next pick. And at this point in the match, all you can do is take it one pick at a time, because the first time you lose, the match is over.
Yes, that is right, but of course, one step at a time, one map at a time, one note at a time for Kentucky. As we've really yet to be able to call this a comeback, really. Still down 6-2, but should this map go their way, I think we can start to have some real thoughts of what happens if this goes another map. What happens if this goes another 2 maps? What happens if this match goes on a little bit longer than Michigan would have wanted?
The thing is, the tiebreaker is awkward mechanics, so it feels like a kind of coin flip map. I don't think either team is super favored on the tiebreaker if we get there, but again, one pick at a time. Let's go through No-Mod 2 first.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thinking about the rosters for both of these teams, I'm not entirely sure who would be super comfortable on the tapping. I know Hatsuratsu is quite good at the tapping, but of course, just because you're good at tapping doesn't necessarily mean you're good at flow aim and flow aim control. Well, I do know Yutsu also is a tapping player, plays a good bit of tapping, but Izia all-rounder. We'll have to see how well they can fill this out. As Michigan other side, a couple really strong all-rounders in Silboy, Twisty, and even Memesicle able to play this more than comfortable on the BPM. As we get into things, it's Haley the Third, of Corsace Custom, as Michigan try to close things out right here, stomp out the comeback before it can really get started.
No early breaks so far. Slight accuracy lead for Michigan, but that doesn't matter too much. It's all about the combos. Some of these totem patterns can be so mean as Twisty and Izia trade breaks.
Yeah, already seeing how some of these bumps in the streams can really catch you off. Just a little bit of not going out quite wide enough, or maybe going too wide and not recovering the path of your cursor quite on time to stay on track. And that can be the difference between a held combo and a miss and a lost map. As we still have the 2 FCs to 2 FC, Yutsu and Hatsuratsu against Soulboy and Memesicle, and the recovery is also building up, so these scores still very close. Just around 10,000 in the favor of Kentucky due to some accuracy differences.
It's another close one. Any break matters right now between these two teams, as Bancho gives us a little bit of a pause here. I hope I don't have to press the panic button, and we're getting back into it. Yutsu! Is that a Bancho break?
I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see as we go into the more difficult section of this map, into the ending, the last third. Twisty dropping his combo right before and finding some more chain misses during, but it's still Silboy and Memesicle to hold their combos. There goes Memesicle on a big chain miss, however, and there goes Silboy. Yutsu, yes, it was a real break, but finding a recovery now. Izia as well, but there's just no combo. Got about knife's edge. It's less than 20,000. I don't know what's going on. There's misses everywhere.
It's about the last. Does anybody chain miss? Does anybody chain miss on the last streams? It's all about the chain miss. These last 2 streams coming up in just a second.
Miss. You must hold. Do not miss. Do not find the chain misses. That is all that matters right now. As I think Twisty has barely done enough in the ending, managing to hold on to the only combo. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Michigan are through. Kentucky are out.
Kentucky is so close on another pick. This time it doesn't go in their favor, and Michigan A going to advance to their second match of the losers bracket, and Kentucky, unfortunately, going to end it here in 12th, 13th place, I believe, in the semifinals.
9th to 12th place, as they will end, as there is where they will finish as Michigan. A very strong start to this semifinals and their first appearance in the semifinals. Kentucky, unfortunately, waking up a little bit too late, and Michigan snuff out their comeback before it can even get started. Of course, congratulations to Memeskull, Twisty, Soulboy, Atara, Pop Flame, and Beef Wellington. Everyone making an appearance today, even Beef Wellington getting to play on the Force Mod 2.
Yeah, I mean, great match there for Michigan, and I think our next match is at 1 UTC in 2 hours, so it'll be quite a long time before we see you again. But yeah, Michigan A going to move on to the next match against I forget who their opponents will be.
I believe it's Virginia. No, or am I remembering incorrectly?
Let me take a look at the challenge.
Yeah, it is. No, it is not Virginia. It's the winner of Connecticut versus
Georgia. Yep.
So exciting matchup coming.
That's a terrifying team to play against.
Yeah.
Either of the teams are very strong. So best of luck to Michigan in their next match.
You have Will Stetson on one side and Tarragon on the other. Terrifying opponent. We'll see who comes out on top there later this evening at 1 UTC. Of course, and then the other 1 UTC match being SoCal B versus New York B. Some minor league action, as we've had a lot of major league action today, but the minor league finally getting back underway. But for now, that is going to be all from me and Jameson as we head towards a bit of a break this evening. We'll see you back in a couple hours, but for now, of course, commiserations to Kentucky, congratulations to Michigan, and that will be all from us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, see you in a couple hours. Peace.